Hey PMZ, how you doing? Josh Reeve here, coming to you live from my office. Hey, just wanted to call or just spend some time talking about car forms today, as well as electronic signatures. So we're going to look at a couple of those things. But hey, you ever get to the afternoon and you're kind of working through things, and you just come to this spot where it's like, man, I need to pick me up. So today, I'm going to give myself a kiss. And I've got myself a cup of joe to enjoy. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, grab a cup of coffee, maybe get a kiss from that young man or woman in your life, from your significant other, from your baby that you're holding, and just enjoy a moment. Let's just enjoy a moment together. Well, okay, now I'm ready. Let's talk about car forms. You guys have all received this Dropbox link that I've sent, and in the Dropbox link you'll see that there's a lot of different slides or files that you can access. Some on how to get hooked up for watching PMZ Academy, some for the different types of MetroList or buy-side or those kinds of things that we can use. But I'm going to talk about car forms today, or real estate forms. And if you look down towards the bottom of this list, you see real estate forms. This is a really important little spot here. If you click on it and open it up, you'll see we have the real estate forms. But if you scroll down, you can see that there's escrow information forms. And this is talking about how to go through escrow, what you'll need to do. And in this is all of the car forms that you're going to need. So it'll talk about, for on a buyer side that you need the executed contract. You need part of that executed contract is the residential purchase agreement, possible representation of one or more buyer or seller. You need the wire fraud advisory, the purchase contract itself, the buyer inspection advisory. So this just kind of lays out the process of going through escrow. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but this is just a really great form. If I were you, I would print this form out, put it on your desk, and this really is a live document. We're updating it constantly because, like in May, we added the coronavirus forms, and we're going to be adding more forms to it, or maybe taking some away. There are some forms in here, or there are some things that may not be added here, and it's because it might be a local option. Maybe you're in Turlock and they've got a local option in Turlock where you have to sign off on the fact that the sidewalks are taken care of by the homeowner. Where in some other places, you can call the city and say, hey, the tree's messing up my sidewalk, and they'll come out, take out the tree or cut back the tree, they'll fix the sidewalk and leave it there for you. So it's constantly changing. There might be local options that you have to take care of. So we have the buyer side, but we also have the seller side as well. And this just talks you through it. Print these puppies off, and whenever you have a buyer that you're working with or a seller, start just checking off the boxes to make sure that you got everything handled. So everything's there, at least for the most part. We're constantly editing it. But I want to talk about actually going into the car forms and what we do with going into the car forms. So here's my California Association of Realtor form, car.org. And if you are brand new or you don't have your license yet, then just so you know, you'll be signing up and getting access to car forms. And car forms are the forms that we use in every real estate transactions. They are the legal forms. They are the ones for our contracts. We call it the RPA, the Residential Purchase Agreement, the RLA, the Residential Listing Agreement, and then there are so many variations that you can go off of it. There's the Vacant Land Listing Agreement. There's the Vacant Land Purchase Agreement. There's the Mobile Home Listing Agreement and Purchase Agreement. And then, there's just 1,000,001 forms, and you can find them all in here. Now there are, just so you know, if you looked back at that form that I just closed out, there are some specialized forms that PMZ has us fill out, such as the affiliated affiliated companies. So it's companies that PMZ is in business with, like Cypress Title, Scenic Oaks Funding, and Valley and HD. And then there's the marketing advisory, which talks about American Home Shield and Old Republic Home Warranty. Those are documents that aren't contained within our car forms, but can definitely be added to your car forms so that you can access them all in one place. Before I get ahead of myself, you come to this home page, and the way that I generally log in to my car forms is I come here and I go to the zip form edition there. What that's going to do is it's going to take me to this sign on page, and I'll click sign on after I've entered my credentials, and then it verifies and validates my membership. When it does that, it makes this box yellow down here, and I just go ahead and click on that to enter into my transactions and my dashboard. So you can look at this a lot of different ways. You can make this go straight to your dashboard right here. I just have it go to my transactions. I don't need to look at my dashboard when I come into here because I want to get down to business in what I'm doing. Along the top, I'm going to move my face here for a second. Along the top here are just some information spots for you to know, and you can change things by going to the Me here and changing your profile, your settings. If you add DocuSign as a digital signature, you would go into profile and settings and change it and put in for your e-signature component and change that there and put in your credentials for DocuSign. I feel like I'm saying that there a lot, so please forgive me if I am and you're like, stop it, Josh. So, and then you have your transactions. These are the different transactions that you're a part of. These are my transactions. You're getting to see a little bit of my business right now. So on yours, if you go in here, you might not have anything listed if you haven't done a transaction yet, or maybe you'll have what you've done so far. But nonetheless, this is the transaction listing. If you go to templates, this is where you can create templates. You can create the documents you need in order to complete a purchase or a listing document. As you can see, I did a Loom training not long ago. Well, it was back in June, and so I have that document here. I have my seller documents. It's called Seller 2 because I had a Seller 1 and I tossed it because I like this one better. And then I had my buyer's forms. And if I go into here, which is where you would want to go, if I go into here, it has my purchase agreement. The only thing I currently have in my template is my purchase agreement. Now, you may want to add your coronavirus form to it so that when you immediately begin showing properties to people, maybe you're going to have your coronavirus form here. They'll fill it out. You come back, you do the purchase agreement. Their name's already there. Whatever you want to do, you can make it your own. But once you open this up, then what you can do is you can begin filling out the information that is a template. So this is the way that every time you go to this template, items will come up. And so you don't want to fill out property information or loan amount or any of those kinds of things. You can scroll down and you can see I've checked a couple of boxes on the buyer. I put my information in there, PMZ Real Estate, the PMZ Real Estate's license number, my name, and my license number. And that's going to be the same every time because it's always me that's writing the offer, right? And then if we scroll down, again, that just is auto-filled from the top. And we get down to the purchase agreement, you can see that I've pre-filled some things in on my purchase agreement. Specifically on page number 2, where we begin the allocation of cost. It's standard for the seller to pay for a natural hazard disclosure, so I check that box. It's standard for the seller to pay to make sure there's smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. And then I have this template set up because most transactions that I do, this is the way that it is going to look. I have the box checked that all of the stoves in the house are included with the sale, because that's generally the way I write my offers. American Home Shield as my home warranty company, upgraded, and so I have these things all pre-filled in, so when I go to write my contract, I don't have to write them all over again. The way that I set up the template and I begin the template, if I'm in templates, I would just go, see, I'm in templates here. I would just go to new, and I'd say it's a new purchase, and then I name it. What am I going to name it? Let's go PMZ 9 Fall 2020. Sound good? And then I'm going to say residential. I'm not going to utilize my templates there. I'm just going to hit save. All right, and then I'll go to all forms, and then I'll just go ahead and grab my purchase agreement. Once I grab my purchase agreement here, I'll open it up, and then I start filling in the information. So here I enter in, right here, PMZ. And I enter in PMZ's dray number. And then I would put my name in as the agent and my Cal dray number. And then you go through and you fill in the things that are going to be standard in every one of your transactions. Or most of the time you're going to use them in your transactions. And then whenever you go back, you can pull up this template and fill from here. Okay? That's just a real important piece of information. That's how you build a template. Now on my seller side, I don't have a lot of information filled in here, but I have a lot of documents. So whenever I'm getting ready to take a listing, I just open up, I don't open the template, I open a transaction, and I bring this template into it, and then all of it's there for all my disclosures, all my listing stuff, it's all ready to go. I'm not going to go into any more detail on the listing side than that because I want to show you how it actually works. So I'm going to get out of templates now and I'm going to go to my transactions. All right, and so now I'm in my transactions. So from my transactions now, I can continue to build or make my purchase agreement. Let me show you how you do the purchase agreement. And the seller side is the exact same, except you use your listing template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say new. And I'm going to say it's a new purchase. From here, I'm going to name the purchase. So maybe you're going to do a street address. Maybe you're going to do a person's name. So we'll just call this Loom, so we know what it is. Fall 2020, or we'll call it Ninja 9. Fall 2020. We're going to do residential, and right down here, see where it says select template? I'm going to select my template. I'm going to select my buyer's forms. So I click on that link to select my buyer's forms. And so I'm telling it what to do. Then I'll scroll down and I'm going to hit save. Right when I have hit save, it applies the template, and as you can see, here it is. I didn't bring this form in like I could by hitting all forms. No, it was automatically put there because I'm utilizing a template. When I click on purchase agreement and I scroll into it, you can see that things are already there because they're a part of my template. And it really makes things quick and easy as you're writing offers. So once I have the template here, what I can do is I can go to the MLS Connect. What does the MLS Connect do? It connects with the MLS to bring the information from the MLS into our car forms, so you don't have to enter all the property address, the APN number, the listing agent's name. You don't have to enter that manually. You can just go here and connect with it and make it happen. I just so happen to have a listing nearby, or I did. Oh, bummer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a listing or a number from the Metro List. So I come over here to Metro List because I'm going to grab a property to write an offer on. Don't you guys love the new landing pages? Yeah, sure. So we'll go ahead and come in here. I've got a listing out here on Sherwood. So I'll go ahead and grab this listing number. So it's right here. I'll grab that number. And I'm just going to go Control C or Command C. And then I'm going to go back here to I'm back in car forms. And I'm going to paste that number. I'm going to include the picture and I'm going to ask it to find that house. So it found the house and I'm just going to import things in. Do you want to replace the existing data? Sure I do. So I say yes. Hey, it's happened. Success. And then look at this. I didn't have it before, but now I have the property address in there. If I look at my first page of the actual purchase agreement, it's got all the address information, the APN number, and everything belonging to me. And if I look at the page 10 of the RPA, it's all filled in with my address and then the listing agent's address, which happens to me. It's all happening right here. So then you just go through and you add the information. This isn't the contract class, but you add the information that goes along with that purchase agreement. Sound good? You like it? Okay, so this house is listed for $500,000, and just for the sake of it, Josh is representing both buyer and seller. Way to go, Josh. And we're going to offer, they're listed for $499,000. We're just going to offer them even $5,000. And we're going to do a $5,000, even $500,000. We're going to do a $5,000 EMD. They're going to get an 80% loan, which would be $400,000. And which means they bring $96,000 or $95,000 to the close of escrow. It's not an FHA loan, anything like that. So now I'm just making sure that the thing is filled out right. Everything looks good. Oh, let's ask for the refrigerator. Why not? Everything looks good. That's great. Okay, so it's all filled out. Now I want to show you how to do an electronic signature. So we talked about car forms. I want to show you this really quick as I go back. If any forms need to be added, like the FHA amendatory clause or any of those things, you can click buttons within the RPA and they'll be automatically added. But if you need to add an addendum, you would just come over to all forms and then you could just go to addendum and click on it and it brings it into the transaction. See where it's there? Or maybe you need to do a request for repairs. You can search up request and it'll bring things in, and there it is down there, and you just click on it and it brings that form in. The cool part is it will eventually, I don't have anybody's name in it, it would autofill the buyer's name. So Gary Schmidt is going to buy this. He's a guy on my team. And the seller is Josh Reeve, just for fun. And so now, oops, I put it in the wrong spot. Josh Reeve. Josh isn't buying it and selling it. He's just selling it. So now, because of that, if I go out of here, I can look here, and I will see autofilled is that the buyer and seller are both there. See, Josh is selling and Gary's buying. Just because I entered it on one form. That's what's cool about the car forms is they all talk to each other. And then what we can do is we can send this to Josh to e-sign or to Gary to e-sign. So we're going to send it to Gary. It's a purchase agreement. We're going to say next. And then we're going to say Gary to sign. He has to have an email address in there. This is my personal one. So we're going to close it. Gary's going to sign it. Oh, we got to add a signer. I've got to sign it as the seller's agent, the buyer's agent, selling agent. So we say next, and what it does is it begins to place all of the signatures where they go inside the document, except it's not working right now because the account has refused to connect. That's really a bummer. Okay, so that ruined my section of class. What happens is it auto connects. Let me see if I can do something else here. We're going to go ahead and do the e-sign thing again, but we're going to change it from DocuSign and use digital ink to do it. Purchase agreement again. We're going to go Gary and, of course, Josh as the selling agent or the buyer's agent. And I'm going to say next. The reason I used DocuSign over the free version on CarForms Digital Ink is just the ease of use on multiple of platforms. Now, DocuSign is very low cost to purchase. I think it's $118 for the year. And you could buy it now, and it's prorated till the end of the year. So you don't have to pay $118 and the year starts and it ends, you know, depending upon where you buy and that kind of stuff. No, you just buy it and it ends December 15th and it's prorated until then. So anyway, but this is the CarForms version called Digital Ink, and look, it placed Gary's signature where it goes. And it also placed mine where it goes all the way through the document. And then I can just say send once I make sure all the signatures are in the right spot, and it sends it for Gary to sign and for me to sign. So it's been done. Let's see if I go to my emails if it's there yet. Not yet. Let's come back here and make sure we're good. Go out of CarForms. So it would come in right here, and then we can just click on the link and go ahead and sign it. Make sure it didn't go there. Takes a little bit for it all to happen. So that's how you would use electronic signatures from CarForms. Now, what if you have a document that needs to be signed that is a PDF? It's not from CarForms. How do you do that? Well, what I can show you is if we go back into our CarForms, what we can do you can either do it on a platform like DocuSign and do it from DocuSign, or you can come back into your CarForms, which I commonly like to do because it does keep everything in one spot. And if it's outside of CarForms, maybe you received a request for repairs from a buyer, or maybe you got a counter from a seller that you're bringing into it, you can go to the documents and you can add a document. You browse for it, and I'm just going to pick one, seller counter, there you go, and you open it. And then you just add it to this whole thing, and then what you can do is, here it is, and I need my clients to sign it now, and I'll just say sign. I can pick what I use. I like DocuSign, but because it didn't work, I'm going to go ahead and use that guy. I'm not sure why it didn't work. Feels stupid that it didn't work, and I'm teaching this class. And you just hit next. Now, who needs to sign it? Gary needs to sign it. So we're going to go Gary, and then we're going to say next. And I'm going to say no thanks again. And so it brings the form into the CarForms. Now, because it's a PDF, you then have to place the signature for your client. And so you'd come in here, and I would just come over here, and I would place the signature for my client. Does that make sense? And then you just hit send, and it would be sent out then to your client. And you'd put that signature wherever it needs to be. There you go. Oh, this is the step I forgot last time. So the counter. Here you go. And then you just hit send. Success, we sent it. And if I come back over here, there's the documents. We can sign documents. And that's how e-signatures and CarForms works. So you can go through and you can sign all this. Listen, you can get on here and you can practice. Practicing is good. So get on and practice, send offers and listings to yourself. Get used to loading documents in. So when it's time for you to do it with an actual buyer or seller, you know what you're doing. Hey, PMZ's got a ton of resources. This was a little bit about car forms and electronic signatures. I hope it's been helpful. If you have questions, please comment on them. Bring them to me on Friday for our Zoom meetup where we can talk about stuff. But I don't want to get too much into the weeds because, man, we could really get into a lot of different topics and conversations about it, and I don't want this to be an hour and a half long. So that's the quick overview. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been helpful. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday for our Zoom meetup. Bye-bye.